We're continuing with the first eclogue of Virgil, line 41 to 47 in this recording. Firstly, I'm going to read you the Latin in the natural order, and then we're going to look at Virgil in the poetical order, translation, notes, etc. Quid ego facerem, neque id licebat me exire servitio, nec id licebat mihi cognoscere divos tam praesentes alibi, hic o meliboi ego vidi illum juvenem, cui juveni nostra altaria fumant bis senos dies quotanis, hic ille primus dedit hoc responsum mihi petenti ab illo. Vos pascete boes, o pueri, ut ante, vos submittite tauros jugo. Meliboius, o fortunate senex, ergo tua rura manebunt. Now Virgil as it was written. Tityrus first. Quid facerem, neque servitio me exire licebat, nec tam praesentes alibi cognoscere divos, hic illum vidi juvenem, meliboi quatannis, bis senos qui nostra dies altaria fumant, hic mihi responsum primus dedit ille petenti, pascite ut ante boes puri submittite tauros. Fortunate senex, ergo tua rura manebunt. So, translation, quid facerem, what could I do? Neque licebat, neither was it possible, me exire servitio, for me to get out of servitude, nec alibi cognoscere divos, or elsewhere to experience the divine, the gods, tam praesentes, so propitious. Hic, here, meliboius, vidi illum juvenem, I saw that young boy, cui bis senos dies, for whom, for twice 6 days, nostra altaria, our altars, quatannis fumant, every year, smoke. Hic primus, here first, dedit ille responsum, he gave me an answer, mihi petenti, to me, asking. Pascete boes, feed your cows, ut ante, as before, puri, my lads, submittite tauros, yoke up your steers. Fortunate senex, O fortunate old man, ergo tua rura manebunt, then your farms will remain your own. Now we're looking at a free translation, and then we go back to Virgil. What could I do? It was neither in my power to get out of servitude, nor anywhere else to experience gods so kind. It was here, Meliboius, that I saw youth, that youth, to whom annually for twice 6 days our altars smoke. It was here he first returned this answer to me, his suppliant, feed your cows as before, boys, yoke your steers. Meliboius replies, fortunate old man, therefore your rural possessions will remain your own. Let's go back to Virgil now. Quid facerem, neque servitio me exire licebat, nec tam praesentes alibi cognoscere divos, hic illum vidi juvenem meliboe quatannis bis senos qui nostra dies altaria fumant, hic mihi responsum primus dedit ille petenti, pascite ut ante boes pueri submittite tauros. Fortunate senex, ergo tua rura manebunt. The notes now. Quid facerem? What could I do? Tityrus informs Meliboius that he had no other way around it, for it was obligatory on him either to go to Rome or to continue as a servant, depending on someone else's will. Appian mentions that when the lands about Cremona and Mantua were parcelled out, among the soldiers of Augustus, great crowds, both of young men and old, of women with their children, flocked to Rome. And there, in a truly dismal group, they filled up the forum and temples with their lamentations, complaining they had been driven from their homes as though they had been conquered by enemies. If many of them were of republican principles and had favoured Brutus and Cassius, yet others, no doubt, were loyal and were warmly attached to Augustus. Tam praesentes divos, gods so propitious, it can't be denied that praesens signifies present rather than propitious. So gods so present. But here, and also in the 9th book of the Aeneid, in verse 404, the meaning appears to be kind, as in the sense of merciful. Not bodily and visibly present, but present as a virtual essence, with protection and help. So here, praesens may be taken in the sense of accessible and helpful. For Augustus readily granted Virgil an interview and instantly complied with his request, which is what this is all about. Juvenem, youth. This is referring, of course, to Octavianus Augustus, the emperor, who at the time that he partitioned the lands was less than 22 years old. And his enemies called him puer, the boy, because of his extreme youth when he first headed his armies. And this appellation was afterwards prohibited by a decree of the Senate. Bis senos dies, upon twice 6, that's 12 days, meaning 1 day of every month. Primus, first, that is instantly, and almost before I had time to prefer my request. Pueri, the lads. The word puer has 4 very clear meanings. The first meaning, of course, is that it means a boy, as opposed to a girl. Secondly, a lad, or a boy, with reference to age, as in not having yet reached full manhood. And thirdly, in the vocative, any manservant or male slave, but more especially one who is working as a valet or a groom or a waiter, so a pretty low-level job. And fourthly, in the same case, any male person addressed in a familiar way, either by an equal or by a superior. And lastly, it's an appellation of kindness, of affection, mingled with pity, which is applicable to any male person of any age, any rank, or any condition. And in this sense, it occurs in the 5th Eclogue, in verse 54. Concerning what is actually meant by submittite tauros, the commentators do not agree. Some think it may refer to the breeding of cattle. Tua rura, your possessions, in other words, your farm, your rural things, which, as may be inferred from the verses that come after this, was not very large, was not very fertile, full of rocks and marshy places where there was bog. However, with all its faults, it was large enough and was greatly prized because it was an inheritance. So let's go back one more time and read firstly the synthetical order and then finally Virgil as it was written by Virgil. Quid ego facerem, neque id licebat me exire servitio, nec id licebat mihi cognoscere divos tam praesentes alibi, hic omeliboi, ego vidi illum juvenem, cui juveni nostra altaria fumant bis senos dies quatanis, hic ille primus dedit hoc responsum mihi petenti ab illo, vos pascete boves opuri ut ante, vos submittite tauros jugo. O fortunate senex, ergo tua rura manebunt. And notice here that the interpretation of submittite tauros as breeding cattle is not agreed with in this translation, but submittite tauros jugo, submit your oxen to the yoke. Let's have a look at Virgil. Quid facerem, neque servitio mexire licebat, nec tam praesentes alibi cognoscere divos. Hic illum vidi juvenem meliboe quatanis bis senos qui nostra dies altaria fumant. Hic mihi responsum primus dedit ille petenti. Pascite ut ante boes pueri submittite tauros. Fortunate senex, ergo tua rura manebunt. Vale, bye.